When we talk about recovering from a vestibular disorder, most of the time we're focused on the physical stuff, right? The exercises, the therapy. But the real battle, the one that actually determines whether you succeed or not, that one's fought inside your own head. So in this explainer, we're going to give you a new mental framework, pulling from some ancient Stoic wisdom to help you navigate the huge emotional challenges of finding your balance again. And this quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's that invisible struggle. You look perfectly fine to everyone else, but inside, it's a total hurricane. It's this feeling of being alone in the chaos that's our starting point. Because really, getting a handle on this internal conflict is the absolute first step to conquering it. All right, so to win this invisible war, you've got to know who the enemy is. And for so many people in vestibular recovery, the two biggest bad guys are anger and impatience. Let's really dig into how they mess with your progress, and more importantly, how you can actually start to fight back. This quote from an ancient Roman writer absolutely nails it. See, anger is this uninvited guest that just shows up all the time when you're dealing with a chronic condition. But what's so smart about this quote is that it points out this destructive loop. First you get angry, and then you get angry at yourself for being angry. It's a vicious cycle that I bet a lot of you recognize. So here's exactly how that cycle plays out. It kicks off with this totally understandable fury, right? You're mad at the diagnosis, at how unfair it is, at the symptoms you can't predict. But then, once that storm kind of passes, a second wave rolls in, bitterness. And this time, it's pointed right back at you for losing control or not handling it better. Now here's the game changer. We have to learn to separate these two types of anger. That first one, the knee-jerk reaction to your suffering, that's just human. It's totally natural. But the second one, that self-blame, well, that's a choice. And it's a choice that actively gets in the way of your recovery. That's the one we can actually learn to manage with a little bit of reason and self-compassion. Okay, let's talk about anger's close cousin, impatience. We all want that quick fix, don't we? That one magic maneuver that's just going to instantly fix everything. But the hard reality of vestibular rehab is it's a slow, grinding, day-by-day process. And that massive gap between what we want and what's real, that's where a ton of frustration comes from. This quote from Julius Caesar is just brilliant because it shows how hard this really is. He knew that one big, heroic act is often way easier than the quiet, long-haul marathon of just patiently enduring. The kind of courage it takes to do your rehab every single day isn't flashy, but man, it is an incredibly rare and powerful kind of strength. And let's be super clear about what this pain of recovery actually is. It's not usually some sharp physical ache. Nope. It's the grueling, mentally exhausting work of completely rewiring your brain, basically forcing it to tear down all the shortcuts and hacks it built and start over, creating new, healthy sensory pathways from scratch. So, why on earth is this process so draining? Well, it's not just in your head, I promise. There is a real physiological battle happening inside your central nervous system. Let's break down the science behind why this feels so incredibly hard. This is the million-dollar question, right? When your vestibular system gets damaged, your brain gets creative. It builds these little workarounds, these hacks, like relying way too much on your eyes or keeping your neck super stiff. They help you stay upright, sure, but they're not a long-term solution. And forcing your brain to let go of those familiar tricks is just plain exhausting for some very real physical reasons. Okay, so here's a look at your brain's battlefield. First up, you've got neural competition. You are literally fighting against old, established pathways that your brain thinks are keeping you safe. Second, energy consumption. Recalibrating all your senses costs a ton of metabolic energy, and that's what causes that deep, foggy feeling in your brain. And third, sensory conflict. And honestly, this is the toughest one. To get better, you have to intentionally trigger your symptoms. You have to feel worse for a little while to teach your brain how to feel better for good. But here is the light at the end of that tunnel. It's called neuroplasticity. This is the science that gives us hope. Your brain isn't set in stone. It can and it will reorganize itself. Every single frustrating patient exercise you do is a direct investment in building new, stronger neural pathways. That is the entire point of all this hard work. So, knowing the fight is both emotional and physical, how do we actually win? This is where we bring in a practical, no-nonsense toolkit from Stoic philosophy. It's all about forging a warrior's mindset to become the master of your own internal world. These 3 maxims, these are your new rules to live by. Number 1, acknowledge the emotion. It's okay to feel angry or frustrated. Let yourself feel it, but don't let it be the one driving the car. Number 2, practice active patience. This isn't just waiting around. It's a deliberate choice you make every single morning. And number 3, redefine what winning looks like. The real victory isn't a perfect, symptom-free day. The victory is the act of enduring. That's the battlefield where you win. Ultimately, what we're talking about is adopting a new identity. The mindset of a warrior isn't about being aggressive. It's about having incredible inner discipline. It's making that conscious choice every day to value reason over rage and to value the long game of patience over the short-term impulse for a quick fix. Your journey back to balance is so much more than physical therapy. It is a deep test and an amazing demonstration of your own inner strength, your fortitude. That's the core of all of this. And this right here is the ultimate prize. When you cultivate this kind of internal discipline, you find a type of balance, a steadiness in your mind and your spirit that can't be shaken, even when the physical world feels unsteady. It's a kind of balance that goes way beyond the physical. So, I'll just leave you with this final thought. We spend so much time and energy trying to find physical stability, but what if the most powerful, the most lasting kind of balance isn't something we find in our inner ear, but something we build piece by piece inside our own mind?